Okay, welcome back. So now that we have the coin system again, let's just see where we ended from last time. Pick up a coin, it adds up coin over there. Each coin can have a separate value, so let's just show you that if I wanted to. Coin 1 can be 5, coin 2 could be, let's say, 25, and then the last coin could even be something like 1,000. So that each coin, so the first coin will give me 5, and then the next one should give us a total of 30, and then the other one should give us 1,030. So 5, 30, 1,030. So each of these coins can have their own individual value. Now, if you haven't picked up on this already, you'll notice anything with bolt, kind of like Playmaker would have the logo next to the hierarchy. This one shows you that there's bolt script code on the items by showing you these little as I call them, crocodile brackets. So those are the objects that have code on it. So if you ever wonder what has at least a flow machine or a state machine on, just look for those icons in the viewport. I'm just going to pop this over here for now. Just go back into here. Now we're going to, like we said, we're going to do health now. So we need to, in this canvas, I'm going to rename this canvas to, let's just call it HUD. There we go. It's a heads up display, so it is a HUD. And in here I'm going to right click, I'm going to add is it an image or an image, and I'm just going to actually screw that. We can, let me see if I can actually find a health bar image really quickly off the internet. Bar image PNG. I like to search so I can get the alpha if there is. Just need to find something that is seeing anything I haven't. I'm seeing nothing worth using, so I'm just going to, for this exercise you can use an image. I'm just going to use a panel which will have an image on it like that, and then I'm going to change the origin to the top left, so left top, and I'm going to just change the position to 0, 0, and I'm going to change the scale of this health bar to something like 150 by 30 maybe. Might be a little bit small. Let's see, it's a little bit small, so I'm going to make it like 200 by, let's actually go 300. Let's go a little bigger. I want you guys to be able to see this, so yeah, let's make it 300. I'm going to leave it over here. I'm going to change the color. I have no alpha. I'm going to change the color of this one to be the front color, so the healthy color, the green, and let's call this HP, let's call it bar, and then I'm going to duplicate it by going to Control and call it HP bar back, just so that I have one back and one front. I want to change the background color to, I think, something like black. The reason we're doing this you'll see soon enough. If you want to, you can parent the two of them together. Remember, order in layer concept is inside of the actual canvas. The thing that's at the top will be furthest to the back and then forward. I'll show you now. I'm going to parent those two together. I might be wrong, but I think I am correct. Now we want the health bar to work like a health bar, so where it says image type sliced, I'm going to click on that and say filled, and I'm going to change it from radial to horizontal, and then when I move the slider you will see that I am getting a health bar that fills up. Now I'm not quite happy with this background image, it's quite crap. Let's see if I can just put none. I know it does need an image. Well done. Now I need to find something that isn't as ugly as this image. I don't think I'll leave it for now. It's I can find another replacement image, but you can see it's going. You can do it from left to right or right to left. You can also just go vertical instead of horizontal, so have a horizontal health bar, a vertical health bar. That could be cool. But I'm going to leave mine. We can even do a radial one. That's a really nice for like a cooldown thing. So you can do like a, if you have an ability that you've used and you're waiting for the cooldown to happen. So we're going to keep it simple to, where am I going now? Horizontal and left to right. There we go. Now notice the values between 0 and 1. So we're going to have to do some math when it comes to, nice, to when we want to get this to be correct. So here's the health bar. That's what it looks like. When it's empty, you've got the black background. When it's full, you've got the green. Now again, I'll go and find a nicer image than that for this health bar because it's quite ugly. There we go. We have our coin manager. We're going to run the health on the health bar as well as on the player. So we're going to create health on the player, but we need to create something the player can collide with that is technically like an enemy or spikes or something. So I'm going to just actually create a normal 3D object, let's make it a sphere, and this sphere is going to be an enemy that can deal damage. I'm going to put it here, and we are going to, before we did a collision event, a trigger event, now we're going to do a collision event. So let's tag this as enemy. There is no enemy tag, so let's create one. So we're going to go to add tag. Over here we have ground. That's from our previous test. So now we need to have one called enemy, and select the enemy again and make sure he's tagged as enemy. So when we're going to collide with this, we're going to check if it's an enemy, and if it's an enemy, we're going to lose health. And then the enemy will either die or he'll just move away. So I'm just going to rename this little enemy sphere. Okay. So this little enemy sphere here, we're just going to give a material that we can actually see. I haven't actually created a material in this because it's a 2D, so you don't have to do what I'm doing. I'm just doing this for my own sanity. I'm just going to create a new material. Call this enemy. I'm going to change the material type from standard to unlit. Let's go unlit color. There we go. I'm just going to drag that there so it just is already glowing. It doesn't need, I'm going to make it red because red is pure evil according to all games. So I'm going to delete this first coin. I'm going to move this coin across here, move this one across here. I'm going to put this enemy here, and I'm going to duplicate this enemy, but I should actually make him a prefab. So I'm just going to drag the first enemy, make him a prefab. That way if I change anything, I will be able to do changes later. Okay, that is it. So this is now the enemy setup. Now we have to actually do the deal damaging, get the damage that's dealt, but each of these enemies could have its own damage amount. So we will tackle that once we have the basic health being deteriorated. So this is all the movement stuff that we've done before. So I'm going to go somewhere down here. I'm going to right click and say on collision enter. So on collision enter, not on collision enter 2D, or on collision enter. We're going to drag from the collider and type in compare tag. Remember, we're comparing if the object we're colliding with is an enemy. So the tag here is going to be enemy. And if that is true, we're doing the if statement. If that is true, then we're going to lose health. So the player doesn't have his own health just as yet. He's got a player speed, can jump, jump force, and ray distance. So we need to add a new one called player health. And that's going to be a float. And then we need another one called player max HP. Let's just call it HP, jeepers. HP. So we're going to call it player max HP. It doesn't have to be a float, it can be an int, it's up to you. And I'm also going to change this one from player health to player HP. Okay, so the player HP, I'm saying, let's just say it's going to be 100. and the player HP here should also match that, but we will do that when the game starts. We will set whatever the player is to the player HP max health. So actually we can do it down here. Right here we're going to do start. I'm going to say on start. All I want to do on start is drag holding down Alt the player HP and just normal drag player max and set that to be that. You can drag around this and saying set player health to max health. So that's what we're doing there. We're setting the player's health to the maximum health, just so that we have the health set up from the beginning. So as your health increases, you don't want to put a default value in there by yourself, because if your character levels up, if your character progressively gets stronger and has more health, this is the value that you want to be updating. That is the value that updates if you have a health pickup or whatever it is. So now that this has been set, over here we're going to want to set, basically we want to take player HP and we're going to subtract, and then we're going to grab player HP again holding down Alt, and we're going to set player HP. So we're going to minus the value here. At a later stage we're going to put that value can come in from different enemies, whatever it is. So we're going to say that if I hit 1, I'm going to lose 50% of my health. So if I hit an enemy, I'm going to lose half my health. That is it. And we're also going to have to do a check to see if you're dead. Sorry for you, you can't do anything anymore. So let's just double check that by looking at the player health update here when we start the game. So this should become 100. Sorry, let me turn that off and not maximize on play. Okay, so we'll see the player HP is now 100. So if I run into this first, unpause the game. If I run into this first guy, you'll see his health is 50. If I run into it again, it's 0. I'm essentially dead now. So this system works. Now we have to decide what happens when you die. Do you restart the game? Do you load the new level? That sort of stuff. Does the enemy get destroyed in the process of you colliding with him? This is up to you what you want to do. But before we even take health away, we need to see if there's any health to take away. So we're going to grab the player HP, copy, paste. And we're going to drag here. We're going to say equal or less than. Fine, let's just do a comparison node. The comparison can be so clunky in these views here. So there we go. So we have a comparison, and we're going to say if A is equal to, if it is less than or equal to, we're going to drag a branch. Then technically you are dead. Don't do anything. Oh my gosh. Sorry. There we go. So this is where we'll lose health. Over here we're just going to do a scene manager dot load scene. Okay, and the name of the scene we want to load is week 1. So it's going to be week 1, or in whatever your case of the scene. So if we die, we're going to load that scene. And remember, this only works if we are, go to build settings, make sure we have week 1 in this the project, which we do. And we're going to check if this works. I'm going to run into this, run into that, and dead. So this that means I technically had to hit it 3 times, but my health was technically already 0. So this here is great. It's less than, and try something here. I'm going to type in equal let's see. We can just drag off here and go and compare. Okay, I want to do a check here to see if this and this are equal. We're gonna get an issue. We always will. We have to make sure it's equal to or less than. But I want to make sure that we fire correctly. So we should have 50, and we should be there. So in my moment of stupidity, I put this after instead of putting it before. So we need to actually subtract the value, then check the value, and then decide what happens with that value, whether it is. Also just plug that directly into that and remove this one, keep it nice and neat. As soon as I can actually delete this node. Then from here we can decide what happens. So we should now officially die after the second knock. Let's see. Boom, boom. There we go. Okay, so that's working, and now I think I can break this and plug this back into there. I'm going to test it one more time, and now we're going to make the health bar work alongside that. I'm going to take a drag on my vape. Apologies. There we go. So now the level is loading, it is working properly, the system is all in place. So the entire health system is now officially done. It is that simple. Just going to drag over here. We're going to expand on this, but I'm just going to call this player health system. I'm going to make it red because it feels like the appropriate color for health, also for lots of other things. Okay, so now let's speak to this UI element. So the player needs to talk to this HUD here. So we need to add a new variable. We're going to call this HP bar, or let's just call it HP image. And again, it's going to be a image. We're going to drag from there. We're going to drag not the background, the foreground HP health bar. And remember, we need to access the image fill amount. Okay, so we're going to do that at the end here. We're going to keep updating this here every time. Actually, we can update it beforehand. So we're going to drag that variable we just created, HP image. We're going to drag it out. No, what happened to my HP image? Ended up at the top. Interesting. So HP image, we're going to drag out and type in fill amount. We're going to set the fill amount of this image. This will stay where it stays. That'll go where that goes. Now, in order to get a value between 0 and 1, we're going to have to take the HP, so Control C, Control V, and then grab the max health, and we're going to have to divide, if I'm correct, divide that by that value, which will then give us the value that we want for our sliders. So let's just see if this works. I have days where my maths completely breaks, so today might be one of those days, and I apologize, guys. If you're probably sitting back there realizing that I've made a mistake, then good for you, and you can have a good laugh at me here. Okay, so let's test the health bar. We should see the health bar updating. I'm going to select the image so I can see if that full amount is updating correctly. So that full amount should be 1. There we go, 0.5. and I'm dead. Okay, so let's change these values up so we can see if the system works is a little more robust. So it shouldn't be a complete 50. So when I hit, I'm going to say, let's do something random like 15. I'm going to lose 15 health every time I hit one of these enemies. There we go. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so the system works. We have a coin manager. We have a health. So I'm just going to destroy this. When I hit it, it's like a bomb. It's going to explode and it's going to destroy itself. So I'm going to do that. So every time I hit one of these, I'm going to destroy it. So at the end of it here, when we collide with the object, we can basically just automatically destroy it straight after the fact. If it is accurate, we're going to drag off the collider. Sorry, we're going to drag off. Yes, we're dragging off the collider. We're going to do a destroy. Wait for it to load. Object. So we're just going to destroy this object, and then we can continue forth with losing the health, the entire system working as it does. So it's going to destroy this object and continue with its life. So we should now have a game that is got 2 coins, 2 enemy, like makeshift enemies. So I'm going to hit this guy. Or not. Pick up the coin, hit that guy. Why are we not hitting these guys? Why are we not hitting these guys? Explain yourself. I want to double check I haven't broken anything major here. Let me just actually put this a little further down the food chain, shall we? Also to double check that I'm not... Actually, we're going to fire it off straight up here. Actually, right here. Yeah, I'm just going to put it right over here at the end. This should not technically work. I'm quite sure they're still tagged as enemy. Okay, boom. How are you not destroying those coins that I'm so nice, asking you so nicely to do? Oh, okay, my bad, my apologies. I know exactly what I did wrong. So I'm going to drag this and type in game object. Let's do game object again. I want to get the game object, you bastard. I will get it now. Game object dot, there we go. Cheapers. And then I'm going to use that to actually destroy, because we were just destroying the collider at that point, which is quite funny because, well, it just is, because I was being a dummy. Destroy, there we go. Pick up coin, destroy, losing health, all is good, everything is working. So those are all the systems we have. Remember to keep things nice and neat, so create empties, and let's create empties. Let's call this systems. I'm going to put my HUD and my coin manager and my event system into my systems folder, and I'm going to create a new empty object for another folder. I'm going to rename this one to assets. I'm going to add the backgrounds, floor collider, coins, enemies into the assets folder. I think we can put the player and that into systems as well. We're probably going to spawn them at some point, which we'll talk about spawning. Next, after we talk about AI, we'll have to talk about how we're going to spawn the AI, so we just need to know about those things. So let's talk about what we did again, very briefly. That is the coin. We're talking about the wrong thing now. Okay, so on the player we created a system. So at the beginning we created two variables, player health or player HP and player max HP. So the max HP is the one that I actually set to a value. So it could have been 1,000, it could have been 1,500, whatever it is. Let's make mine 500 now. At the start of the game, I want to set that health, the player's current health, to the player's max HP health, just so that the health is correctly set up. Damn, you're buggy. And then after that, when the player collides with the enemy and it's true, we're going to take the player HP, subtract a value. Now this value we can at any point we can actually make it a value that gets inputted from the enemy. So if an ranged enemy does more damage than a melee enemy, blah blah blah, whatever you want to do, we can input that value as a variable that gets fed in from another character. We're going to subtract those two values and set the player HP again. After we've done that, we're setting the full amount on the image so that the image can lose health or gain health. And then we're just doing it, and that's in order to get the image right, because the image is between 0 and 1, we need to take the player HP, divide it by the maximum player HP, so that we always get a value between 0 and 1. And what I mean by that, let me just show you on the calculator here. If we have, let's say let's say the total health is 500 and we have 150 health left, we divide that by 500, we get a value between 0 and 1. So that being said, if we go 500 divided by 500, we get 1. So as you can see, that's how we get the value between 0 and 1. And over here, we're just checking if the health is equal to or less than 0. If it is, load the scene. What you could do is just spawn another scene or go back to main menu, that sort of thing. And when it fires off through, it's just going to destroy the object that it collided with the enemy. You don't need to have that. That is an optional thing. If the enemy deals damage to you but he doesn't die, this is kind of like a suicide bomber kind of enemy, so he destroys himself in the process of destroying everything else. So I'm just going to move this down here right next to it, so all the health related stuff is down here. And that is it. That is the sum total of, we did the coin pickups, we fixed the animation, we did the camera, we did the health pickups. So we're looking pretty for the next phase, which is will actually be in class, which is our setting up our AI and all that stuff, and then we'll do this exact same logic here for their health systems, and we will do the same thing for dealing damage and taking damage from them to us and us to them. So that's it. Thanks, guys.